the minute you get married, you realize, actually, if you want to have a successful marriage, you have to work on yourself. Rather than trying to get the other person to change, you've got to work on you. You have to refine your character traits. One character trait that we really need a lot in marriage is patience. I'll tell you a story. About a month ago, well, I have a delicious dessert that I make. It's called chocolate covered bananas. And you put a stick in them and you put them in the freezer and they're delicious. So these chocolate covered bananas need chocolate and bananas. So my husband is a big mensch. He's an amazing man. He doesn't need to work on his character traits. I hope you're watching. And he went to the store and he came back with bananas. The bananas were bruised. I can't use bruised bananas in my delicious chocolate covered banana dessert. It doesn't work. So I said, thank you so much, honey, being patient. Thank you so much, honey. And also I'd realized I hadn't expressed it to him. But I can't use bruised bananas. So next time you go, could you just get yellow bananas? He came back the next week. The bananas weren't yellow. They were green. And he came and he said, well, these were the only bananas that were there and you wrote bananas on the list. So I said, I know, honey, thanks so much. But I can't use green bananas because they're too crunchy. And when you put them in the freezer and someone bites them, they can't get their teeth into them. It doesn't taste good. So he said, okay, what type of bananas do you want me to get? So I said, not bruised, not green. The next week he came in, he's so nice that he went shopping again, but he came in and this time I felt inside of him that there was this dread. He was walking on eggshells because now he'd made a mistake twice. Even though he didn't know the right information to begin with, he walks in and I pull out of the bag. I thought they were green. They weren't yellow. They weren't bruised. They weren't very green, but they were still green. And he said to me, honey, I went to the store and I had a look around, but they were the yellowest of all the green bananas. I said, I know, thank you so much, but I can't use these bananas. They're not the ones that I'm thinking of. They're not yellow. They're not perfect. They're not bruised, but they're green. Please come back next week with the right bananas. So he went out. The next week, I had loads of company coming. And he walked in the door and I pulled out of the bag green, bright green, not just a little bit green. They weren't bruised, that was good. They weren't yellow though. They were green, bright green bananas. I said, honey, how am I meant to use these? And he got upset. We both lost our patience. He said, what do you mean, how can you use them? You told me to buy you green bananas. I said, no, over the last 4 weeks, don't buy green, don't buy bruised, don't buy nearly green, don't buy nearly yellow. I need yellow bananas. He said, and he pulled out of his pocket the list that I had written him. And because my mind was, don't get those green bananas again, I wrote green bananas on my shopping list. So he'd actually done what I'd asked him to do. He came back with green bananas. It's a story of lots of tools. Number one, patience is needed. How can we have patience? Now, one of the ways we can have patience is to think when you're in that place where it's bubbling up inside of you, to remember that there's an entire room full of people saying, Sharon, you could do it. Yes, you could do it. You could be patient. You could be patient. Don't upset him. You're meant to make him feel like a king. When you make him feel like the king, then you're married to a king, which makes you a queen. And we all want to be royalty or married to royalty, don't we? Number two is to remember that your job is to... There's a very fine line between patience and anger. And when you move from patience to anger, it's really nasty. And if you were to take your face and look in the mirror and see the contorted face that looks angry, like, what are you doing? It doesn't look very nice, does it? So don't do it. You have to be nice. You have to look beautiful. And you have to be and express yourself in a way that you can communicate what's in your head. Men aren't mind readers. Women aren't mind readers. We have to be able to express ourselves. Another thing that you have to remember is that when he brought back the yellow bananas, you were very ready to blame him. You can't blame him for everything that goes wrong. You have to take responsibility. Stephen Covey in his book says, what's responsibility? It's being response-able, having the ability to make the right responses in the right time. So if you want to be patient, or you want any other character trait for that matter, you have to be in control of your responses. You can't control the other person. You've learnt that by now. You're definitely married. When you step over the threshold of your home, you realize that you can't control him, but you can control me. So you have to work on you in order to have a good marriage. You can't change him, but you can change you. And when you change you, you are the most amazing role model, and he wants to be a better person as well.